Today's adventure brings us once again to an abandoned road. And we have to give a shout out to Nameless User from YouTube who left a comment on our abandoned Route 95 video stating that they had been here about 10 years ago and didn't know if this was still here. So we did some research and as you can see, it's still here.
Thank you, Nameless User.
There you go. And by the way, we are at the Blue Hills Reservation in Massachusetts. So why is this here and why is it abandoned?
I don't know why.
Well, to answer those questions, we need to step back in time to when all roads led to Boston. The main modes of transportation at the time were trains and horse and buggies. There was no need or means to go around Boston, you simply went through it.
Ooh.
Yeah, well that was up until the automobile was invented, and suddenly those roads were just too small for the increased flow of traffic coming into the city. In other words, Boston began to experience gridlock for the first time, and
Really?
not the last.
No. Look at this rock. There's rocks embedded in the rock.
All around. I always wanted to be a rock star.
So this is the other side of that rock, and you can't make out the rocks that are inside it. So let's go check out the other side. But yet on this side, there's boulders in the rock. It's weird looking.
Now getting back to Boston's gridlock problem, by 1927 they came up with a plan to combat that. What it did was it involved existing roads in the suburbs around Boston to reroute the traffic to get it around the city. Now this array of different roads in different cities became known as Route 128.
Ah, Route 128.
And it was completed in 1933. But to complete it, a right-of-way needed to be granted through the Blue Hills Reservation. And Blue Hill River Road was constructed. Care to guess the name of this abandoned road we're walking on right now, huh?
River Road.
Pay good attention.
As you can see here, nature is reclaiming this area.
Double yellow line right here. That's all there is. It's coming this way.
Now we're in a section where we're getting closer to the highway. And they don't know we're here.
And it looks like they had enough opportunities to learn how to spell school properly.
Yeah, no kidding. This one's pretty clear. Looks like the most recent, looks like somebody uncovered the S.
I just can't believe how many schools there were along this road. And railroads.
crossings.
Once this road was closed down, Massachusetts DCR used this for practice painting on roads. So the Route 128, as it was planned out, worked sort of.
Maybe so.
Yeah, by 1934 it was realized that it was never really accomplishing what it was meant to do. The route was kind of hard to follow and it eventually became congested too, and it was no longer alleviating any traffic in Boston. Now that same year, William Callahan, then the commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Public Works, had an idea to completely change Route 128, making it America's first limited access circumferential highway. Now the first 22 miles of the new Route 128 wouldn't be finished until 1951, and by 1956 it was 65 miles long. You know, the funny thing is though, the day that it opened, 50,000 cars jammed the highway. It just seems like it's been jammed ever since.
Should have known Boston would always have traffic.
So after the new Route 128 was open, they just reverted the roads back to what they were before there was the old Route 128. But not all of them. Where we are, in particular, was left abandoned. So that's why it's here, and that's why it's abandoned.
What do you think?
Roadway toupee.
Perfectly round.
I don't know, maybe there was a manhole cover there.
Maybe. So let's go check out the end of the old 128.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
If you're on a road that goes nowhere, and you get to the end, does that mean you got nowhere? If you wait for the shuttle, it's that way. Uh-oh. Or that way. Alright, so the question I gave you to ponder, if you're on a road to nowhere and you get to the end, are you in nowhere? I still don't know. But speaking of ends, that's going to bring an end to this segment of the video. but not the end of the video, because we're going to bring you to yet another abandoned section of road. So until we get there, just come on, let's go, we're going. Today's adventure continues on yet another section of the old Route 128.
Another section?
It's a 2-for-1 deal. We are now in Braintree, Mass, about 4.5 miles from where we just were. While we were researching this, we did run across one source that said not only was this the abandoned part of the old Route 128, but supposedly after it became abandoned, there were plans to reuse it as an on-ramp for Route 93. But then that idea got abandoned too, and it was decided to put it somewhere else. But you know what? This road does have some additional history from the late 60s through the early 70s. I want you to take a look at this straight stretch of road that's a little over a quarter-mile long, and think back to when you were 16, 17, 18 plus. Maybe you owned a muscle car. What comes to mind?
Vroom, vroom.
Oh yeah, we would like to welcome you to the Braintree Quarter-Mile, as it became known. And it was quite the place to be on the weekends for some illegal street racing. Well, I would have been here if I was old enough. Spectators would just line the road to watch the races. And you're probably wondering, well, if it was that popular, where were the cops? Well, they kind of looked the other way because this was state property. It wasn't their jurisdiction. And the Metropolitan District Commission Police, they just didn't seem to care much either, so it became a no-rules drag strip.
Oh dear.
Now, of course, you know that can't go on forever without somebody getting hurt. And an accident did happen, and some spectators got hurt. So the authorities blocked the entrance with a brim of boulders and felt to prevent cars from getting in. But somehow or another, it was all moved and the racing continued.
Yeah, I can't imagine how that happened.
I don't know, somebody must have had a backhoe at their disposal. So the racing continued, and of course there was another accident. And after that, when it was determined that the Braintree Quarter-Mile needed to be shut down permanently.
And how did they do that?
Well, look it down on the road right here. See what looks like, you know, rectangles on the ground here?
Oh yeah, I see that.
Well, those became speed bumps. They installed them like every 100 yards or so. That's about how far you'd say these are, huh?
Yeah,
Ballpark?
probably about that.
They also put a guardrail up along the road so that no one was getting in here this time. And it worked. Now, if you go out online and you put in Braintree Quarter-Mile, they're still selling stickers. $7.50 a piece. But anyway, today it is part of the Blue Hills Reservation hiking and biking trails, and it's open to the public. You just can't race here. Well, not in a car. Now, during the day, I'm sure speeds got very, very high on this piece of road. But today, as I pan over to the left, it's gotten a little bit slower. I'd say it's gone down to a turtle's pace. Hey, buddy. Want to come out and say hi to the camera? Say hi to everyone on YouTube? Alright, we'll leave you alone.
And there's the end of the pavement.
Yep, and it was also the end of someone's dream who said, hey, let's put an on-ramp to 93 right here. And everyone else said, yeah, let's go with it. And then someone said, wait a minute, I got a better idea, so they stopped. Otherwise, Sean, I'd be dodging traffic right now. That just wouldn't be cool.
No, not cool at all.
So this is a straightaway. It's a little over a quarter-mile. It's got history, and it's abandoned. That's what we like. So, if you like what you saw today between the old 128 and the abandoned on-ramp for 93, we'd really appreciate that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, again, that red button down there, it will not bite you if you click it. Good.
Try it.
So feel free to comment and share this video, because until our next adventure, the end. God, 1951. This was all over. This has been abandoned ever since then.